all of the Nebraska beef.
They are cows.
They are cows.
Nice. Now this facility has...
We have a child care, a preschool, dance program, after school program, and then we also, the children don't come here for this, but we do Girls Circle, where we go to the schools and are trying to help them communicate better with themselves, not bullying, trying to make those things better.
So here we are in Nebraska. Today is February, what's today? February
2nd.
February 2nd. Say good morning, Sue.
Good morning, Lisa.
Today is, let's see, in the morning we're doing a radio interview at the radio station is?
KRGI.
KRGI. And is it a popular station? And,
Yes. They've got like 5 different other substations with them.
And who's their viewing audience, would you say?
Mostly 20s, 30 people.
Okay. All right, well that sounds good. We want to talk to them and let them know about the events that we're doing today. I'll be performing at a high school, and the name of the high school is?
Grand Island Senior High. Grades 9 through 12.
9 through 12. Okay, well that's when we want to get them when they're young and educate them about domestic violence and the signs to look for in unhealthy relationships. And I'm sure I'll hear some stories, as I always do, because in each high school they seem to be dealing with the same issues. It may be Nebraska, the backdrop may change, but the issues are typically the same. So I look forward to sharing my story in an effort to help them. And then we'll have a lunch, and then we're going to
Crisis Center.
And the Crisis Center is programmed through the YWCA.
No, they're on their own.
Oh, they're on their own. Okay.
It's a shelter for domestic violence, women that have gone through domestic violence.
Okay. Well, we're always glad to hear that there's a shelter for women because they need a place to go, especially when they have children, women and children. I've seen many families, young kids in shelters, and it's sad, but at least they do have shelter and a place to go until they get on their feet. And then this evening at 7 o'clock we're going to
the Grand Theater.
And that's downtown?
Yes, it's downtown, Grand Island.
Great. Well, the Grand Theater sounds grand, so I better put my mascara on. So we're here, 96 FM, 1430 AM KRGI. Check it out. Yep. This morning is an interview. We have someone walking out. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
See that? Everyone in Nebraska is friendly.
Well, we hope so.
Not like a
Brad Studio.
I'm documenting you right behind you.
That's right.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi there.
Good morning.
How are you?
You're on camera already.
Well, hey. Sue, how's it going?
We want to see the face that's connected to the voice.
I don't think you do.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Have a seat over there. Grand Island tonight that we're going to talk about right now with Lisa Regina. She is in the studio along with Sue Perney, but Sue has said ixnay on the talk game, right?
Yes,
She's
Brad.
the filmer this morning, I guess. Good morning, Lisa. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great.
Welcome to Nebraska. So tell me a little bit about you. We're on The Sopranos and Bronx Paradise. What's been going on lately with you?
Well, my acting career is still going strong. I had to rebuild it after my assault, of course. It took many years. I just wrapped a film, Family on Board, with Eric Roberts. We shot that in Brooklyn. And also I'm working on a film, 79 Parts, which is a comedy, which I really welcome comedy because it's been a heavy road to healing. So it's nice to work on something that's fun. 79 Parts has Sandra Bernhardt, and it's a great script. Still have scenes to shoot on that. But I'm really glad to be here because A Right to Heal is my nonprofit. And what I do is I travel across the country to YWCA shelters and community events, raising awareness for domestic violence.
Because you were a victim.
Because I am a survivor. Yes, on April 2nd, 2005, I was assaulted in New York City by my then fiance, only a couple months away from our wedding. So it's been a road of healing, and by meeting so many women and learning about their stories, I just knew that I had to do something with my performance skills and use them in a positive way. So that's what I'm doing. I wrote a monologue about my story, And I also have a stage play, a collection of women's stories based on true stories of domestic violence. So it's really important to give voice to these stories, in addition to my story, of course.
Wow. Okay, Lisa Regina, our guest here this morning. So I always wonder, having never been a victim, survivor, either one of those, does that come out of the blue? Did that for you in that instance? Was it something that you just was unexpected?
Well, it was unexpected that day, of course, because we were going to see my family, and it was a happy occasion. We were celebrating our engagement and wedding. So yes, it was definitely a shock. But looking back and educating myself, and of course the counselors at the YWCA providing me with knowledge that I need to be aware of the signs. And the signs are there, and that's why it's so important that we're going out this morning to the high school to educate the young kids on the unhealthy signs of unhealthy relationships. And yes, it started out with verbal, emotional abuse, and then escalated into the assault.
Is it kind of the same signs for all ages? High school kids?
You know what, it really is.
Okay.
The background may change. I may be in a different state. You know, I've been traveling from New York City to York, Pennsylvania, all different YWCAs across the country. And although that backdrop does change, the issues remain the same in every community, and the signs are the same. It's a cycle, and it's a pattern.
Is that where it starts? High school, you think?
Even younger, yes,
Really?
it really does, because I've been out to junior highs, and the stories that I hear are very, very similar with the pushing and the pulling, the name calling, the texting, using text as a way to attack that person verbally. Yeah, there's much of it in our schools, and I know it's not a subject we want to talk about, but it's our responsibility as the adults, as the parents, as the brothers and sisters, to look at this issue and to raise awareness and educate our youth on it.
So tell me about the three words: empower, courage, and strength that you have on your shirt, and you have on this poster.
You're getting
that we
a sneak
have,
preview.
That's right.
Yes, I always wear this shirt. This shirt is very significant. The first time that I stood on stage in New York City and vocalized my story was difficult, to say the least. I had industry people, you know, directors and filmmakers and other actors and writers in the audience, and then I did a second show with friends and family, and that was even harder, because here I was standing up on stage finally giving voice to my story, because remember, the press was all over my story because of who my fiance was, because he was on television, a very popular show, and they wanted to sensationalize that, of course, and talk about that. I wanted to focus on the real issue of domestic violence, so that's why I waited so long to come out and really start to educate others. But empower, strength, courage, sort of my mantra. I had it tattooed on my wrist. I never thought I would get a tattoo. I never had a desire to, but it really is my mantra. I would look at that every day, and it would just give me the strength to go forward.
So Right to Heal, is that mostly about healing? You talked about the signs, or does it take us through the before, during, and after?
It really does take you through every stage of it. The women that I met in a counseling session, it was a group session being facilitated by an advocate, which I can't stress enough how important advocates at the YWCA and provide the kind of counseling that you really need. Because yes, writing is a creative tool that helped me, but in addition to that, you truly need counseling. You truly need professionals that deal with this every day to guide you. So in meeting these women in a group, a domestic violence group with a facilitator, I started to share my writings. And the monologue that I wrote is very powerful. It's a spoken word monologue, and it addresses my abuser directly. And it talks about the signs, it talks about what happened, and to stand on stage for the first time in New York with this shirt on, Empower, Strength, Courage, really was difficult, but it was also very liberating and very healing for me.
So how long was that between the incident and the time you got on stage?
That was, my assault was April 2nd, 2005, and I stood on stage for the first time in New York City, July 2006. And that was directly following the birth of my nonprofit, Right to Heal, and it's spelled W-R-I-T-E, because using writing to heal is the focus, and performance, of course. And bullying and dating and violence and all those issues they're all interconnected. The high schools that I've been to throughout New York City, the violence and the violence in dating and bullying is starting at such a young age. It's no different when someone is bullying you, when someone is showing these signs of control and threatening you and making you feel intimidated. it's no different. So
who do you think should go tonight? Who do you think, we hope everybody goes, that is listening that's available. But
everybody. I have fathers that come up to me after performances and they say, thank you so much. Thank you for having the courage to get up and use your story as a way to reach audiences, because, you know, I have a daughter and I'm worried about her. She's starting to date. I don't know how to talk to her about this. You know, if a young guy ever put his hands on her, you know, I would want to, you know. So I understand the fear associated with that. So it's really important that the men come out, because they have a great responsibility in their community to be part of the education, to be part of it. And also, this is a really important point when it comes to men, because a lot of people get the wrong impression. They might think, oh, it's a woman's issue, it's a woman's thing. I'm a guy, why do I need to be there? You definitely need to be there because you are part of the solution, you are part of the education. Especially in high schools, when there's a group of young guys and you have maybe a few that are intimidating a young pretty girl walking down the hallway. They make sexual innuendos and remarks that are wrong. They make her feel uncomfortable. It impacts that young lady's life, and that's a part of the issue. And it's up to a young man to stand up and say, hey, it's wrong. You know, I wouldn't want you talking to my sister that way. I wouldn't want you talking to my mother that way. It's wrong. So men play an important role in this. Everyone should come out. Men, women, teenagers. It's just really important to address the issue for everyone.
Call yourself a survivor, but are all of these, this on the radio this morning, the address tonight, is it all therapeutic for you still?
It is, but honestly, it's also, it's still difficult. As many years as it's been, 2005, April 2nd, I will never forget that date. I still sometimes go through a moment of, why am I doing this? Why am I getting on stage and like pouring my heart out, and why am I, excavating these feelings and digging them up, and and then I remember, because I remember the women that still send me emails, that still call me, that still ask for help, the young teens that still keep in touch with me, that say, we'll never forget your performance at our high school, when are you coming back? Or the teen that writes me an email and says, I just graduated and I want to do work in my community, I'm working at a YWCA. It does have a positive influence. So I feel as an artist a great responsibility to continue to do this. Can it be therapeutic for me? Is it? Absolutely. It definitely makes me stronger. It makes me feel empowered, inspired, and I want to pass that forward to everyone that I come in contact with.
I would imagine that the numbers are staggering, and they always say what goes on behind closed doors people don't know about. There are probably people who work in this building who are good friends with us, relatives with us, to go through this, and we don't even know it.
Absolutely. I met, as far as individuals that have shared their story with me privately, registered nurses. You would think in the health profession they might have a better understanding of this issue, and how could they be involved in it. I mean, professionals, educated, uneducated, stay-at-home moms, you name it, across the board, attorneys. It impacts everyone, all ethnicities, all educational status, all anyone, everywhere. It does, and it is something that people don't want to talk about. I also meet a lot of women who say, this is my second marriage. My first marriage was a nightmare, but I don't talk about it. But and I say, okay, I understand. So yeah, they want to put it behind them. They don't want to talk about it. I mean, look at Rihanna. Look at people that are really in the spotlight of the public. Her assault came, we read about it, and then it was gone. As far as devoting her life to educating communities, there are a lot of women, there are a lot of people who are far bigger celebrities and far bigger names in this industry, and they're really not doing anything educational with domestic violence that I'm aware of. One person that I truly admire, Christina Aguilera, amazing. She wrote that song to her mother. She gets on a stage in front of hundreds of thousands of people, and she sings that song about growing up in violence, and she devotes it to her mother. And she is a brave woman to do that. So I applaud her, and anyone like that who has the masses and has an audience that they can impact with something that's educational.
And you mentioned people who have survived a domestic violence situation. is it hard then to accept men as maybe not all being the same?
I love men.
Because we're not all, I guess that it's not hard to figure out
and
that
I
not everybody's the same.
I don't make a generalization. I'm sure directly following my assault, I wasn't thinking about dating, that's for damn sure. I wasn't thinking about, going out and meeting someone. I needed to become whole again. I needed to become, and I believe I'm even stronger and a better person because of this. I'm definitely less selfish. I was focused on my career, my wedding, all things about me, and what I was doing for my future. Now I really have a newfound spirit. I mean, I really love giving and what it means to communities. And here I am in Nebraska. I live in New York City, and I'm sure I'll hear some stories here. And I'm just glad that I'm here to help. So I think that as far as men and dating, with any situation, you need to be whole, you need to be healthy, emotionally, physically, spiritually. And I worked on every aspect of my being, from physically healing from my injuries, emotionally, going to counseling, writing, enriching my spirit, and giving, which has really provided me with an even stronger spirit and heart. Then I was able to start dating, and I am dating. So, and I do have someone special in my life, and he's a man that really understands the issue. He's supportive. Sometimes he comes to my speaking engagements. He'll hold the camera. He'll shoot like you're doing today, Sue. He'll hand out postcards. He'll take people's names for me. He's amazing, and he raised his boys that way. He is fine young men. Kyle and Clint. They're gentlemen. They're wonderful. They treat women with respect. Just think about your mother, think about your sister, think about a woman in your life that you respect and that you love. And if she came home with a huge black eye, broken arm, how would you feel? What would you want to see done? It's a crime. I saw a poster one time at one of the shelters that said, domestic violence, it's not a shame, it's a crime. And it's so true. People say, oh, that's a shame what happened to her. No, it's a crime. If someone walks down the street and assaults someone, they get arrested. They get charged as that crime. If a man assaults his wife or his girlfriend, they don't get charged the same way. Why is that? We need to look at these laws.
You can tell that it's a very powerful message that Lisa Regina will bring to the stage tonight. Everybody invited at the Grand Theater, downtown Grand Island. Starts at 7 o'clock. They'll have a dessert bar prior to the event and performance. If you'd like to know more, we've got some information here at KRGI. She is an awesome lady to meet, and we hope you'll get a chance to go meet Lisa Regina tonight. Thank you very much for stopping by.
Thank you so much for making this a wonderful platform for me and for your community, and I look forward to meeting everyone.
Awesome. All right. Going to senior high, is it Grand Island Senior High first?
Yes, that's
okay,
where we're going.
All right. To address some students, and then tonight open to the public, 7 o'clock at the Grand Theater. See Lisa Regina there. Thank you very much, Lisa.
Thank you.
Welcome to Nebraska.
Thank you. I'm going to rock Nebraska. Like
awesome.
I said, there's music. It's a spoken word. It's also very entertaining. So.
Awesome. Well, we hope to get you out of here before a nasty Nebraska winter storm.
That snow. That's right.
All right. Thanks, Lisa. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
you doing?
I want to know where you got your shirt at.
I painted this for my first stage performance in New York, but I do have shirts. If you go on my website, I have T-shirts that are really cool. Same thing.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome.
Can I just give you a hug?
Yes.
So
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm signing arms. This is awesome. Okay, thanks, guys. Wait, you're never gonna wash it? Here's your pen. We're signing arms. This is kind of cool. I love this. This is very. I should write the Howard Stern Carriage on your arm. Oh my God! They're going home too. I'm very moved by this. Ah, yes. Ooh. What's your name? James. James. Okay. I'm serious. I said it on camera. I will.
James, do the cat daddy.
Yeah, do it.
Cat daddy, do it.
Is it a dance?
Anybody got music?
Oh, nice.
Hey, who has a cat daddy song? Go low.
That's great. I learned cat daddy from James in Nebraska. This is James, the cat daddy. Here's my okay. Will you come tonight at 7?
I can try. I live right by the YWCA, so.
You gotta come. I want to talk to you, okay? All right. And make sure you talk to me. I promise me.
I'm class.
You know her. Come on in, ladies. I'm your biggest fan. My biggest fan. But can you do the cat daddy? I can't. I can do the dark. How do I do it? I don't know.
Which button do I push?
Easy now. Easy with the threads. Got it? Yeah. Excellent.
Thank you.
Come on, fine gentlemen. Come on in. The pillars of the community. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey guys. All right.
Well, I don't know. Kinty's. Shut your mouth.
Thank you. I hope it helped you and made you inspired thought, evoked emotions.
The whole time I was like speechless, and I'm never not tired.
Hey, I know what you mean. I'm never speechless either, so thank you. How are you? How you doing? Were you here for the performance for my presentation?
Yeah.
Good. How you feeling about that?
Well, I feel the same way I feel before.
What's that?
Because before what was happening to me, the same things will happen to you, but one is different.
Okay, so I'm sorry you had to experience abuse.
Yeah, when I was 11 years old, my uncle he get killed in Iraq, and I was seeing how he did kill him.
Wow.
And they hit him with guns.
We have a Sharpie. Do we need it? So you
When they sent me to
witnessed.
the doctor here, they think I take drugs. And when I go to the doctor, she was like, oh, it's like a knee when it's a break, you can't forget it. I was like, so can we forget your brother when he get killed and you see how they kill him? She's like, no. And she started crying. And right now when I hear your story, it's the same mind.
Okay. I'm sorry you had to witness that kind of violence, and I understand what you mean when you say if your knee breaks, you know, it never really heals the same way. And I understand because my heart was broken and my spirit was broken. But the thing that I love about you is that you're courageous and you're sharing that with me, and it makes me cry too because I'm so proud of you. And it's hard to share that, and you can inspire so many people, you know, by just being brave. Okay. So you're putting it into words, into the medium of film, your experience. You go, man. That's great. That's awesome.
And I work hard with him, and
Good.
He was talking about different story. I told you about my story.
Personal story, yeah.
And I make it.
Good.
And I work with another movie. Like
So you have strong support around you, and you're doing something positive with something really awful and violent.
Yeah. And I work
That's
another
great.
one.
You know.
Nice to meet you.
Promise me you'll reach out to me and email and keep me posted. And if I can help in any way with, you know, connecting you with people in the film industry or crew people or anyone, you know, if I can, I will help you.
I will do it.
But most importantly, keep in touch because if you're ever feeling, you know, bad or that you can't, you know, tell the story because it's hard, you know, then promise me you'll reach out.
I will. I promise.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
We don't have a Sharpie.
We don't have a Sharpie. Does anyone have a Sharpie?
Here you go. There you go.
Ah, thank you. You to the rescue. Are you a teacher?
I'm a guidance counselor.
Oh, okay, great. Do it?
These are three of my junior theater students.
Oh, excellent.
And they're three of my leads attending the shrew right now, too. So.
Nice. You guys, what? Attending of the shrew. You go. That's great. That's gonna. When does it open?
February 17th, 18th, 19th.
Second to last week.
What roles are you playing?
I'm Trevio. I'm Trevio. I'm Lou Sectio.
Excellent. Oh, I want to come back and see the play. Using the medium of film and television, there's a producer out there, there's a team of people out there that will recognize that it needs to be done. We've shown everything else on television, you know, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, and I just feel that it's also a sensitive subject matter like those, and it needs to be told. So I believe my story is the key to unlock those doors.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, great.
All right.
Thank you so much. It's over? I remember waking up having coffee. Where are we going?
Texas T-Bone, yeah! Okay, we're feeling good. We had a great performance at the Grand Island Senior High School, and now I'm going to get a steak in Nebraska. Texas T-Bone. Wait, yeehaw! Oh, smells good. Smells delicious. There we go.
We have some boots on the wall. I love it. They look like my fry boots.
Right out there, I don't know what that means.
Great. So any thoughts? This is post-performance. Post-performance. My heart is still going like this because after performance I love when the teens come up and they talk and they hug and it's so emotional and they obviously want to connect, so it's nice. So let's hear what Darcy and Sue have to say.
I was most impressed with how you get them to start talking. I mean, you say the right thing and then they feel like they can open up to you, and that impressed me a lot.
I just thought it was great how the kids just sat there, you know, just glued to you, and really didn't have any problems with them. And then how the hugs and I love you, and you know I follow you. Signatures, ink, permanent markers on the arms, signature.
Oh, really?
That was so cool. She says, I wanted to stay there. That's neat.
That was great.
Okay, it's February 3rd. I'm leaving the airport in Nebraska, and this is actually an airport. There's nobody here. It's quiet, and there's a tractor in the airport. Tractor. And bales of hay.